Today is 6.2b, and it is the application problems for the right triangles that we talked about last week. You did an application problem when we did our lab on Friday. That was with an angle of elevation. We need to do an angle of depression, to make sure that you know what that looks like. Again, you're not to judge my pictures. So let's go ahead and sketch a picture of an angle of depression. So the book shows you if you have a building and you're standing here and you're wanting to look at another person on the ground. So if you make your horizontal line of sight and then look down at someone sitting on the ground, that angle is your angle of depression inside there. So that would be your theta. This is always going to be a right angle. A lot of times you see them from, maybe you're looking down from the building. So let's say the height of the building down, it would almost be like your measuring instrument is here. So make your horizontal line, then look down at something way, way off in the distance. Okay, when you do that, that is going to be your right triangle, and this from horizontal down is angle of depression. Down, depression. You've got to get the idea of that. So that is your angle of depression here. Remember the difference. When I did angle of elevation, it was me looking up to the top of the building, and that angle looking from horizontal up was your angle of elevation. It's all coming from your line of sight. So if the instrument is here, so that's its line of sight, straight across, it's looking down. The instrument is not able to measure this way. It's not looking straight down the building, it's looking out. Like, think about your eyeballs. You look out at something, that's your line of sight. Okay, so we need to do a couple of word problems. Let me see if I can find an angle of elevation question and an angle of depression so we can practice. You want to get out your textbooks. That way we can read along with me. So go ahead and get out your textbooks. Turn to page, let's find a good one. How about page 450? Turn to page 450. So you're going to read along with me so I don't have to write the entire problem on the board. Everybody turn to page 450. If the sub needs to pause the video at this point, please do so. Okay, let's do number 54. I want to read the problem and pretend like there's not a picture there so that we can duplicate the picture without looking at it. So please cover up the picture, don't look at it. 54, let's read it, don't look at the picture, and let's try and duplicate it from the reading because you are not provided a picture at all times. You have to draw the pictures. So cover it up and let's read it. A woman standing on a hill sees a flagpole that she knows is 60 foot tall. Okay, let's pause there. Let's draw the woman on a hill. We know how this works. I'm not the best artist, so we're going to put this person on a hill. Her feet should probably touch the ground. Okay, there's a flagpole over here. So what we want to do is find, let's put our flagpole. You don't know what you're finding yet, do you? You're told that this is 60 feet tall. Okay, so let's keep reading. The angle of depression to the bottom of the pole is 40 degrees. Let's draw ourselves our horizontal line of sight. And it's from her eyeballs. That's where her sight is. So go straight across. That is then going to be the right angle that you're going to deal with. The flagpole is supposed to be straight. So that's your horizontal line of sight. From there it says the angle of depression, so looking down to the bottom, that right there is 14 degrees. Then it says the angle of elevation to the top of the pole is 18 degrees. And you're supposed to remember that I'm not drawing this to scale, that we're going to use the numbers, not the picture, to verify what's going on, okay? So I know that's a bigger angle than this one, but we're not going to get hung up on that. We're going to do the math, and our math is going to compare lengths and be correct. Okay, so that's a good thing for you to know, is that your picture does not have to be drawn to scale. ACTs, SATs, they all write on there, not drawn to scale. Don't get hung up in the picture to check your work. You need to check your work with the math. Okay, so let me scroll this up a little bit and give me some workspace. The question says, find her distance from the pole. So that's her horizontal line of sight. That's what you're looking for to be what you're finding. Okay. Okay, so let's do some math. We know all of our sine, cosine, and tangent information. We're going to call this height 1, and this is height 2. We know that those two things add up to 60, right? So let's go find h1. We have an angle. We have opposite as h and adjacent is x. So we're going to do tangent. Tangent of 18 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. We also know with the 14 the same things, that we can label them as opposite over adjacent. And we're trying to solve for x. So let's find out what h1 and h2 are and put them in this equation in these two spots. Okay? So we're taking x times tangent 14 degrees is h2, and x times tangent 18 degrees is h1. Those two things are going to add up to 60. So 60 feet equals x times tangent 14 degrees plus x times tangent 18 degrees. So you don't have numbers yet. You got rid of your h1 and your h2 by plugging those in, and now you're trying to solve for x. So we need to think about our algebra. We know how to factor. When we have a greatest common factor, we know how to factor. So if this was a non-calculator, keep in mind I have not picked up my calculator yet. If this was a non-calculator, I would simply divide this over, and I would not be able to tell a numeric answer. I would just need to leave it here. That equals x. If I'm allowed a calculator, I'm going to pick up my calculator and get a number answer. And I'm going to get it at this point. I would have not picked it up before now. I do not want you rounding till you get to the end answer. So watch how I'm going to type this in. I'm going to type in 60 Okay, we're going to type in 60 divided by parentheses tangent 14 plus tangent 18. We're going to make sure that we're in degree mode so that we get a correct answer, and we're going to push enter. And our answer should be 104.485. Okay, so let's reevaluate what I did. I just rounded off, so approximately x. I did it to 3 decimal places because it didn't tell me how many, and we're preparing ourselves for AP Calculus. I'm not circling this because I need to write a sentence that says the woman is standing about 104 feet from the woman is about 104 feet from the flagpole. You go back to the question, make sure I got everything. I rounded correctly here. I have my units here. and I have an entire sentence ready to circle. Alright, so let's circle the sentence, box the sentence, whatever you're going to do to indicate the answer is this. It did not ask for each H1 and H2, so I don't have to go back and find those individual heights. So this is the answer to the question. It used angle of elevation and depression. You have one very similar to it in number 55. I would like for you to make sure that you go through and you try and do it without the picture so that you can practice drawing your own pictures. The other questions look pretty straightforward. I want to make sure that you understand some terminology. A guy wire, when the question talks about that, that is taking a pole and there's a wire that keeps it from falling over. Okay, so the right angle is made with the pole and the wire is going to be the hypotenuse. So when you see that, that may be some term that you're not familiar with. So that's what that looks like. Everything else looks pretty straightforward, so you should be able to do your angle of elevation, angle of depression, draw. The expectation is that when I see your homework and you do a homework check, I can see a picture that you've sketched. I can see labels on that picture. Then I need to see the work leading to it using your trig. I will not allow you to guess and check, so I need to see the trig work, and then I need to see approximate answers that are appropriate. I need to see units, and I need to see sentences. So that's the expectation when I go grading these. Okay, so you've got homework to do, and it's only 6 questions. So I want you to work on your 6 questions from 6.2. Alright, after you finish that, I want you to work on your review, and that is on page 483, and that is on your calendar, because next time you're in class, you have a quiz. So I want you to start working on that review so you're ready for your quiz. Your quiz is over section 1.1 through 1.2. And we've worked on this for a while, so that goes all the way back to degrees and radians. And then it is doing your arc length, your area. Then you did your linear and your angular speeds. Then you went to 6.2. 6.2 is finding the 6 trig functions: sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, and then word problems. So be ready for all of that information next time. That quiz is worth 50 points according to your calendar. You should be ready to start working on everything now. You will be busy the entire period working on this assignment.